Coming up on Michigan Replay, it's an opening game victory for the Wolverines. We'll have the highlights. We'll also take a tour through Michigan's new Game Day Digs. And we'll look ahead and scout the Houston Cougars as Game 2 of the season appears on radar. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by the Joy of Pepsi and by Big Boy Restaurants. Big Boy makes you say, oh boy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. The Wolverines open against Central Michigan with a 45-7 victory. Congratulations, Lloyd Carr, in your 100th game as coach at Michigan.
Well, the main thing is, Jim, we got off to a good start. We got a lot of things to work on, but we got a lot of guys an opportunity to play, particularly a lot of young guys, and that always helps your team. It helps your morale. But we got a ways to go here.
That's the thing I talked about of the game. It was a good victory, and it was a lot of points scored, big margin. But there's still plenty of coaching points you can take into next week.
Well, I think so. We got to catch the ball better, and we got to tackle better, and we got to be better in the red zone. But we did do some good things. Let's take a look at the highlights. And we started off with your team doing well offensively, opening up with a big play, but then not being able to convert. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Now, we break a good run out of there. Chris Perry, 63 yards. That's the longest run we've had in 2 years. But unfortunately, we failed to get the ball in the end zone. That's one of the things we worked extremely hard on, and early in the game, we weren't very successful.
And the kicking game, this time Adam Finley misses just wide right.
Well, just barely pushed it a little bit to the right, and so we come out of there on a golden opportunity with nothing.
But then you stop him, and then you unleash one of these youngsters that is going to be pretty special, Steve Preston.
Yeah, he did a great job back there fielding punts, and there Elijah Bradley, young freshman, makes a great block. And what you want against the team, especially with a no-huddle team, is to give your offense great field position, and our kick team did that here. And then we get a screen off to David Underwood. David played very well today, and so we're excited about what he brought to our offense.
Still couldn't stick it in, but this time Finley makes it.
Well, we dropped the ball in the end zone to have to settle for a field goal, Jim. So we had an opportunity to be up 14-0, take control of the game, and we're only up 3-0.
3-0 first quarter, then Central comes out, hit this pass, and then you get great pressure on a drive where they're down close from Jeremy Van Alstyne that causes an interception.
Well, there's no question. Here's one of those situations where the pressure did cause the ball to be underthrown, and we dodge a bullet. You know, Central Michigan put together a great drive there and had the ball down and scoring opportunity and came away with nothing.
Then on a 3rd and 6, John Navarre almost slips but gets a nice ball in for a first down to reach Butler.
Well, Ty made a good catch there under duress. The ball was, he didn't have everything on it because he slipped a little bit.
And this one kind of volleyballed around.
Well, Jim, you know, we really get a lucky bounce here, a good break. Breaston, of course, you know,
but that's
the luckier
heads up,
you
isn't
are.
it?
Yeah, the more you hustle, the luckier you get. And then John makes a great throw here, a great catch, and we get a touchdown out of a drive that we were very fortunate in terms of the big play there.
The touchdown to Braylon Edwards gets you the 10-0 lead at the end of one quarter. We move now to the second quarter, and Central has the football.
Well, we've worked extremely hard on the flanker screens there. We got hurt a year ago in a couple of situations, and we did a very, very good job against their quick screens today.
And then here comes Breaston again. And this special teams and punt return field position is valuable. He's going to be big in field position.
Well, if he continues to do what he did on Saturday, Jim, because he's quick and he's elusive, and a guy that has a lot of confidence when he has the football.
And I tell you, Chris Perry over 200 yards rushing, his career high, and the offensive line opened some big holes.
Well, I think, you know, here again, there's a big hole there, good hard running, but our offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage, Jim, and that's one of the things we talked about going into this game, that we had to control the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively. We certainly did it offensively.
That gets the 17-0 lead, and then Central starts coming back and gashing you a little bit with a pretty good drive.
Well, Central Michigan ran 45 plays in the first half, and they've got a good scheme. They have an ability to check off and get into the right play because they don't spend any time in the huddle. And here we come up with a big stop and get good field position again. And then we make really John's only real bad play of the game. They went to a three-man rush, and he was not patient enough, and we throw an interception, which takes us out of an opportunity to get more points on the board.
And then Central starts to control the football on you.
Well, there isn't any question. We wore down a little bit here. We don't have anybody but close to the quarterback there. Our young freshman cornerback, Leon Hall, got sucked up into the flat there, and they picked up a third down conversion on 3rd and 10.
Here's the play that
Jim, I think this was one of the biggest plays of the game. I don't know that we caused that fumble as much as he didn't have the ball secured, but Jeremy Van Alsting came up with the ball, and we dodged a couple of bullets there with 2 turnovers.
It's 17-0 at halftime. It looks like the game's in control, and yet I didn't get the sense that it was. You felt it should have been more.
Yeah, well, there's no question. We twice in the red zone, we don't get touchdowns. We dropped another pass that probably would have gone for a touchdown. And so, you know, I was pleased with our kicking game. I think offensively we did a good job controlling the line of scrimmage, but we didn't execute. And defensively, we missed some tackles in there.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the second half highlights. But first, we hear from Steve Preston. For a young guy, said it was just another day at the office.
I felt a little nervous, like anybody else out here, you know. But you know, as long as I did my job, you know, listen to coaches do what they told me to do, I just go out there and contribute. Everybody else I fell in place, and everybody else fell in place.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet locker room report.
We got to win. That was a goal to get a win, but they came out and played hard. We give them credit. They came out and played hard, but we got a lot of stuff we got to go back and work on because we know for us to be a championship team, we can't allow them to pass or run on us like that, and we got a lot of work to do. We glad we got the win, but we got to come back on a lot of stuff to do.
The Wolverines had a 17-0 lead over Central Michigan at halftime in their opener, and you came out and they get the ball to start the second half, and they get poor field position, and then really they started to really scare everybody in that stadium.
Jim, we couldn't have asked for any better field position. We get the ball, and they got the ball on their own 9-yard line, and they run a little counter play here, misdirection play that hurt us several times on this drive. Here he executes, we're in man coverage, the tight end gets loose, and in 2 plays, they're out with good field position.
And then here's the one where you don't like missed tackles.
No, well, we've got a guy unblocked off the corner that should have made the play at the line of scrimmage. He was a little bit late blitzing, which put him in space. But then we missed 2 other tackles, and that was probably the worst play of the day for us on defense.
Well, that's 17-7 at this point, and this is the key drive in the game, isn't it?
There's no question, because at this point, Central Michigan had come out of the locker room, gained some momentum with a great touchdown drive, and now our offense needs to respond, and they did.
Chris Perry, great cut here and real great effort to get in the end zone.
Well, Carl Tabb out there cornering, shadowing the corner, and Chris makes a great cut. And we put together a real fast drive there, and that really, I think, was the biggest drive of the game for us.
Gives you some breathing room at 24-7. The defense then holds, and then you get another big play from Chris Perry here, and then a big play through the air from John DeVar to Braylon Edwards.
Well, good blocking there on the stretch play to the outside, and then good play action here, great protection, and John threads the needle, and Braylon pulls it in, and we got another touchdown, and now we're in control of the game, if there ever is such a thing, Jim.
31-7 at this point. Then the defense starts to pick it up. Big Gabe Watson had some nice plays inside.
Well, we did get a lot of young guys. Larry Harrison got a lot of snaps in there. And you know, that's the great thing about being in that kind of control as you get into the fourth quarter, because a lot of guys get a chance to play. Here's Steve Breston catches the ball in the flat and makes a nice gain, a nice cut. Breston, the thing he can do, Jim, is make you miss. And so I think this kid's got a wonderful career in front of him.
Here's a fumble by Braylon Edwards, but again, Tim Massaquoi in good position makes the play.
Again, we got lucky, but Tim was hustling, and here John makes a great throw to Jason Avon, catches the football, and you know, we did some very good things execution-wise here.
And then you get a touchdown from David Underwood, who had a nice game.
David Underwood, I think, came out to start the season the way we had hoped he would. He ran the ball hard, and I think he's only going to get better.
And you got a chance to play a lot of guys. Here's young quarterback Matt Gutierrez.
Well, Matt made two very good throws there. Here, one to Steve Breston, who's fighting hard to get in the end zone. But it was great to get Matt in his first game. Some good snaps, and here he scores a touchdown on the quarterback sneak.
45-7. Ultimately, it turns out to be the final. But you also got to look at a couple of young running backs that you want to get experience. Pierre Rembert and Jerome Jackson.
Well, Pierre Rembert makes a guy miss right here in the backfield, and Pierre has had a very, very productive fall. And we need a guy to be a third back. And Jerome Jackson went to high school at Saginaw High, teammate. He and Lamar Woodley, who got a lot of snaps today. But there's no question, Jim, every time you get a snap, especially if you get to carry the football, you learn something, you gain some confidence, and that Jerome's going to be a valuable asset to us on special teams.
45-7 is the final. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about is it was important to get Matt Gutierrez some time, because you've said all along you've got to develop that backup quarterback. You've got to get a guy that can come in and play. You've said that for years, leading up to even John DeVar playing.
Well, I think it's one of the things certainly I've learned as a coach that you better, when you get an opportunity, and sometimes you have to make opportunities, but Matt has made wonderful strides, and so it was good to get him an opportunity to play.
Coming out of this game, if there was one thing that you wanted to work on, would it be defensively and working against the run?
Well, there's no question that we're disappointed with the statistics in rushing defense. That's something that we've got to shore up, and we've got to find out exactly what happened. Some of it, you got to give Central Michigan credit. Central Michigan is a good offensive football team. Mike has done a great job with them. But certainly when somebody controls the line of scrimmage like that, you got work to do.
Got work to do, but it's 1-0 start. The Wolverines win their opener over Central Michigan. When we come back, we'll take a look at the new digs the Wolverines are in their locker room at the stadium. But first, we hear from Tony Pape, who loves that run-pass balance.
That's a major emphasis we want to do this year, is be a balanced offense, and we've got the tools to do it. And so, we did it this game, and we want to continue to do it over the course of the year.
What you all saw on Saturday against Central Michigan, the beautiful new field turf surface, isn't the only facelift at Michigan Stadium this year. What you haven't seen until now is the brand new Wolverine locker room at the Big House. The renovation was sorely needed, and Darren McKinnon of O'Neill Construction says there were some unique issues that came with the job.
Well, the big thing, we had about 3,000 square feet was the old locker room, and the new one is well over 10,000. In order to do that, we had to pull out about 10,000 cubic yards of earth. And you're between the stadium, the old staircase, the tunnel, and the new scoreboard feed. So all that stuff, the dirt had to come straight up into trucks and out along the concourse. And after that was all done, we had to get it back in there, and we put in Fielding Yost type caisson footings that go down 35 feet deep, well more than we would ever need for whatever they'd hoped to build on top of this locker room.
In just over 6 months, they got it all done. Remarkable. And even more importantly, the client is delighted. Just listen to Michigan Equipment Manager John Falk.
First of all, I want to thank Scott Draper for the effort that he put forth to supervise this and make every coordination possible to make this locker room what it is today. The equipment room is off to the right side. That's the first thing you see. And as you remember, Jim, it used to be we had all the boilers and everything in our equipment room. Well, now we have a beautiful equipment room. And Bob Bland, who worked with us here at Michigan Football in the equipment room, He was the one who constructed everything in the way the equipment room was going to have its place. Everything has its place, and every place has its thing. And on the left side is the training room. It's a beautiful training room. It helps in the development of the safety of every player. We have an area there, a clean area, where the doctors can look the player over if he needs to have anything sutured or whatever it takes there. The beautiful training room, the taping that can be done. And there used to be, we had to tape over at the football building and then bring everybody here. Now they can tape right here in the locker room area. I want you to know I've been in a lot of stadiums all over the country as long as I've been at Michigan, and this is probably one of the best locker rooms in a football stadium like Michigan's. All 115 Michigan football players can dress here. As you know, in the past, 30 of them had to dress over at Chrysler Arena, and now every man can dress in Michigan's locker room.
For McKinnon, a former Wolverine manager from 1995 to 98, this locker room job was more than just another project. As you might imagine, his heart was in it too.
I can come here the next 50 years with my kids and my grandkids and say, you know, I did this and I know where the locker room is, and I'm sure things might change in 50 years, but you know, I've made a permanent alteration to, you know, the biggest football stadium in the country, and one that has a special place in my heart, and it'd be nice to have that for a long, long time.
It's a beautiful new locker room. We're glad you got a chance to show it. Those things don't happen just automatically. You've had help from great donors and great friends of Michigan to help put the money together to get that locker room built.
Well, Jim, you know,
sorely needed.
There are three guys we should mention. You know, Al Glick, Ira Harris, and Tom Mintz, of course, was a former great Michigan football player.
Well, he and Kramer were, you know, twins on those teams in the mid-50s.
But those three men made major contributions, and so you can appreciate it because you were a player in that other locker room. And I just think what a wonderful thing that every single guy now will be able to dress in that locker room.
But in addition, the safety for the training area, which before, I mean, you mentioned it. Anthony Thomas, the one time he hurt his finger, had to go to the hospital. He could have got it and sat in that locker room and returned to the game.
He would have been back, and you know. But yeah, I think if you talk to Paul Schmidt, you'll realize what an unbelievable thing it is in terms of the safety of our players. So it's a win-win, and we appreciate all those people that made such wonderful gifts to the athletic department.
We do indeed, and when we come back, we will take a look at Michigan's next opponent, the Houston Cougars. But first, we hear from Elaine Cashman. He says there's still a lot of work left to be done.
So next week we're going to do better. This is the first game. We have some mistakes, so we just got to correct those mistakes for next week and get ready to go.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet locker room report.
You never want to let down. I mean, we have a lot of goals, a lot of high expectations. So a letdown is unlikely. As soon as the game was over, I focused on Houston. So I think the whole team did that, and that's what we're going to focus on tomorrow.
After the opening victory, Chris Perry says focus forward, and that means Houston. And you got the Cougars coming in Ann Arbor, and it's a tough one to prepare for because first-year coach, you really don't know what they got, do you?
Well, it means you're going to have to make some adjustments in most cases because
on the fly.
Yeah, there's no, you know, we'll have one game film. We know nothing coming out of spring practice to speak of, so it is one of those games where being able to adjust on game day is going to be an important factor.
Well, Art Briles is their first-year coach. He's had 3 years as running back coach at Texas Tech, and you said he was a fine coach in high school in the Houston area.
Jim, one of the most highly respected coaches in the state of Texas, and there's a lot of enthusiasm. So our expectation, you know, Texas Tech is one of those teams that throw the ball 60, 70 times a game. So we'll just have to see what they bring.
They've got a big tight end in Stephen Cucci, 6'4", 270. Looks like he can run.
Jim, this guy averages 14.4 yards a catch for a tight end. That has to be among
6'4", 270, yeah. Gets deep like that.
That's impressive.
That's scary.
That's impressive.
Farouk Delkin is one of their best players on defensive end. And this Damian West middle linebacker, 6'2", 245.
Well, Delkin 9 sacks a year ago. That's impressive for anybody.
And then their best defensive back, Jermaine Woodard, is a strong safety.
215 pounds, and they'll be a very athletic group. We've recruited the state of Texas, so high school football there is outstanding, and the University of Houston has a good football tradition.
Yeah, as you come into this game, and again, you don't know a lot, you'll only have the one game film. How do you prepare? Do you prepare so that you are flexible?
Well, we're gonna prepare based on what we see in their one game. I think that's where you have to start. But you're always telling your players, and regardless, even if you're playing somebody you play every year, the same coaches, there's always an element of surprise, something new they're giving you. So you've always got to be able to make some adjustments.
One of the old coaches that I had, you might know him to some degree, he always said, you make your most improvement between game 1 and game 2. Do you subscribe to that same theory?
Jim, I do. Because I think the nervousness of all the young players, and even the guys that are coming back in that first game, you get back into playing the game with a lot of people watching you against different competition. So I do think that you have an opportunity to make the greatest improvement between the first 2 games.
And the biggest thing you want to emphasize this week would be defense against the run and better tackling.
And catching the football.
And catching the football.
And doing a better job in the red zone. You know, we want to score touchdowns. And to do that, we've got to execute better. So, you know, hopefully every week we're going to get better. And if we're, you know, Chris Perry said there, you got to be focused every week. That's the challenge, because there's a lot of people that will want to talk about other games, and we got one coming up this week.
And that's the one we're going to focus on. So you focus on it with us next week, same time, same place, right here for Michigan Replay. Michigan Replay has been brought to you in part by Abso Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Fifth Third Bank, working hard to be the only bank you'll ever need. And by State Farm, providing insurance and financial services.